It came from outer space to fill the world with terror.
What earthly power can stop this terror?
That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop.
The broadcasting from outer space.
And we're off. Welcome back, everybody. We have fully moved into the new studio space, got everything set up, and we are ready to go on this one.
Now, who do I talk to about a better parking spot in our new location? Because I had to park like 3 blocks away. I would hope I would get some VIP valet service. We're moving on up in the world.
We'll talk to someone about that for you, buddy. Enjoying the new studio for the time being. It's once again the podcast from outer space. Racking them up. It's your boy Rob Scott. Adam Narlock's in the house tonight.
Hey guys, thanks for listening.
And as always, Ryan Scott.
Greetings, Earthlings.
And tonight we are focusing in on the pyramids in Egypt.
Yes. Long time coming on this episode after many setbacks. But, we have adapted and overcome, and we are finally covering, them, we all love them. We've heard the tall tales, the legends. We've seen Brendan Fraser and Pinky and the Brain. The pyramids.
What about Tom Cruise? Forgot that guy.
Yeah, well, that was trash. Now, I believe it is Rob, our very own Rob, who is constantly bringing up the pyramids in reference to numerous topics we've discussed, aliens being the main one. So tonight we are going to focus on the mysteries and theories of the Great Pyramids of Giza. I'd say, these are probably some of the biggest mysteries still around today. Would you guys agree?
I would agree.
And, I know it's something that's fascinated me my whole life. Probably one of the things I'd go back in time if given the choice to see.
Apart from young Hal?
Yes. What about you guys? If you could go back to see one event in history, what would it be? One mysterious event.
Let me field this one first, because one of the biggest mysteries still around today are what our very own Rob Stone does on a daily basis. I would love to go around and figure this mystery out, get Scooby-Doo on this shit.
Well, once we get the YouTube channel up and running, we can do a day in the life of Rob.
It starts around 11 a.m. So
no, I don't want this as an investigative topic for another time.
No.
What would you like to go see? Some dinosaurs?
Some dinosaurs? That was your favorite as a kid.
That's not a mystery, though. They obviously existed.
Some people say they don't. A lot of NFL players say the dinosaurs were mysteries, right?
Oh, yeah, okay. 89% of the NFL is on drugs, so what does that tell you?
Okay.
So you're saying the dinosaurs don't exist?
No, I don't think that at all. I said some NFL players do.
Okay, well, dinosaurs isn't what I would want to go see.
What would you want to go see? That's what we're asking you.
You said a mysterious event. That's not,
so
dinosaurs doesn't fall under that.
Okay.
Well, you want to know what happened to
Yes,
them?
we're no longer arguing about the dinosaurs. We are in agreement with you on that.
What would you like to go see?
I mean, I think I would agree with you. It'd be interesting to see how the pyramids were actually built, since no one seems to fucking know.
Okay. Now, before we get started, how about some facts, some knowledge right off the dome from you two clowns? What did you guys learn in school about the pyramids? I mean, I know I learned it was slave labor that pulled them, these giant blocks with these ropes up like low grade inclines with like trees, they had the branches off the trees, so it was just logs, and they rolled them, and they would keep going and keep recycling the logs. What did you guys learn?
See, here's what's crazy to me. Like, I'm teaching middle school, 6th grade, and these kids are learning about Egypt, ancient Egypt, and the pyramids. I didn't learn about this until I was like a sophomore in high school. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I mean, I've learned about it.
What middle school did you go to?
Yeah, what? You went to PA Middle, didn't you?
Well, I went to middle school in Washington where we learned about like Canada and Mexico and stuff.
That's it? That's all you learned the whole year?
Pretty much. And then, when I moved to Virginia, it was like Civil War on and then government.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's just Washington State because Lexi has very questionable high school knowledge. I mean, I remember learning about them in like elementary school. Like it was one of the first things we cover, which is weird because I feel like history, at least when I was going to school, moves from like, oh, we start with the beginning of time when you're like really young, and then we move up into like, you know, by the time you hit high school, you're just learning about like, I don't know, agriculture, shit like that. Real boring shit. But, what are they teaching today in school, Teabag?
Like I said, I teach 6th grade, and we start with like ancient civilizations out in like the Tigris and Euphrates. The whole point being irrigation is the foundation of life. And eventually we work our way a little bit to the west, and you're in Egypt, and boom, you start talking about the pyramids, man.
Well, you know, we might just shatter some of that knowledge tonight with the stuff that we've dug up here.
We might. Probably not good to teach 10 and 11-year-olds what we're covering tonight. Maybe.
Oh, excellent to teach them this stuff.
We'll make sure they get in on this.
Yes.
Now, are you guys familiar with Prince of Egypt? Because that's what I always thought.
Exactly. That was one of my earlier exposures to how the pyramids were built. And it's got, you know, the guy's cracking the whips, and Moses sees it, and he's like trying to save it. Now, is that even, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not too familiar with the Bible. Moses, did he have any connection with the pyramids?
I don't know about well, according to Prince of Egypt, yeah, but I mean, baby in the basket, found in the reeds.
Bastard in a basket.
Now, if I'm not correct, Moses wore red socks, Adam. Is that right?
Okay, so
don't mess with a man wearing red socks.
So that's what we know, basically, is that we learned slaves made them when they were kids. Anything else that you guys know right off the dome about the pyramids?
But that's just a lie, just like the Bible. That's what we're learning.
What about you? Any other crazy facts or anything you want to get off your chest before we get into this?
No.
Okay, so slaves built it, but that is not the case, is what we all know and were raised to believe. So let's start with some cold, hard facts. Lay the groundwork, if you will. Located on the continent of Africa, in the country of Egypt, on the outskirts of the city of Cairo, about 5 miles west of the Nile River, on the Giza Plateau, lies 3 pyramid complexes known as the Great Pyramids. Now, this is, of the original 7 wonders of the world, they are by far the oldest, predating the others by thousands of years, and the only one still in existence. They are also accompanied by a massive statue known as the Great Sphinx, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Keep that in your back pocket. So the pyramids themselves, the pyramids of Giza consist of, now you guys might have to help me out with these names, the pyramid of Khufu, constructed anywhere from 2,560 to 2,540 BC, allegedly. Air quotes, you know, nobody really the fuck knows, is what I've gained from researching all this stuff.
Well, the aliens that built them probably know.
The smaller pyramid of Khafre, a few hundred meters southwest, and then relatively modest size pyramid of Menkare or Mykrinos, right?
Looks good.
Mykrinos, a few hundred meters farther southwest. And then the Great Sphinx lies on the east side of the complex. Along with these main pyramids, there is several satellite structures known as Queen's Pyramids, Causeways, and Valley Pyramids. Now, our main focus tonight is going to be on the Great Pyramid of Khufu, because this is by far the biggest mystery. And, you know, what is so mysterious about these pyramids, you may ask? Just what is so mysterious about them? Well, no one can answer?
Is that an actual question?
Yes, that's
posed
a question.
to us?
That's
I didn't know if it was rhetorical or...
Yeah. Well, no one seems to know how they were built or around what time they were built. There's all these guesstimates, but no concrete evidence.
Yep, and no one can agree. That's the big thing. So there's basically like 2 camps. There's the Egyptologists who are like, the guys who have spent their whole lives researching this, like Rachel Weisz, is that her name from The Mummy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like her character. And then there's what's known as pyramidiates who think that it's aliens.
You're making this up.
I swear to God, that's an actual thing. They think it's called, they call them pyramidiates. And, that's like the people who think, oh, it was some crazy aliens, some space aliens came down and taught everybody how to make these things.
So people are actually thinking that 4,000 years ago, is that the time frame we're talking?
Yeah, around 4,000, approximately.
Round
give or
down,
take,
round up.
Yeah. Round up, definitely.
Okay, so 4,000 years ago, these motherfuckers were building. How heavy are these stones we're talking?
Oh, now we'll get into that right now.
We'll cover that later.
Here we go. We'll cover that right now. I just said.
Okay, but I'm saying
so
there's no way these guys were moving that around with little carts 4,000 years ago.
Carts? You learned about carts?
Yeah.
You didn't say that earlier. I did not know about any carts.
Well, it's bullshit, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It says right here in the 6th grade textbook, no beasts of burden, no special tools, or even the wheel.
Okay, send me that because I'll post that on the Instagram account.
Okay.
A snippet from a modern day 6th grade textbook.
History alive.
Okay, so peep this. So, Pyramid of Khufu, constructed of 2.3 million blocks, ranging in weight from 2.5 to 15 tons apiece. It's got a height of 481 feet, give or take, with weathering and erosion, and each base side is 756 feet. The total volume is 91,227,778 cubic feet, and it is also estimated to weigh a total of 5.9 million tons. Now that's around 110,000 Panzer tanks for reference.
Oh, great reference.
Yeah. So a majority of conventional construction theories suggest the pyramids were built by moving stones from a quarry and lifting them into place. There's tons of disagreements on what methods were used and how this was even possible during this time of alleged construction. Now, going off common Egyptology, what are we shaking our heads at?
Nothing.
Now,
I'm just thinking, that it's very hard to believe, again, 4,000 years ago, that these assholes are moving around 15-ton bricks and putting them into a perfect pyramid with
wood
tunnels, tombs,
which we'll get into
secret entrances.
Okay, so now going off common Egyptology theory, it is estimated that the pyramid took, this is just Khufu's pyramid, took 20 years to construct. Some argue 10 to 14, but 20 is the most agreed upon number. Now, going off of 20 years of construction, they would have had to move 800 tons a day. That's an average of 12 blocks an hour, day and night, 24 hours for 20 years.
I mean, imagine this is your job, man. Half the day you're just moving these big-ass bricks around.
No, not half the day. This is 24 hours.
Yeah, but you're not working in a 24-hour shift.
Well, maybe back then.
Yeah, we had nothing else to do but build pyramids, maybe.
Yeah. And, again, another thing to take into consideration. I mean, you, me, Rob, we're pretty big guys.
Good
back
size.
then, people were a lot smaller.
That's true.
I mean, have you been up to Balboa, to the Mummy Museum?
That's true.
So, no, have you been? That's a question. So I'm saying, I'm looking at these freaking pharaoh tombs, and they're like the size of my leg. Like, these are little kids over here, and they're, responsible for building these things.
Well, the pharaohs weren't building them. That's number one.
Well, that's still the average size of the people,
That's
and I would think
the best nutrition.
Yeah, and I would think the pharaoh would be the biggest guy, the alpha. So we're
don't know about that.
These people are even smaller. So, some, just like we were raised to believe, say slave labor was used. Prince of Egypt, most notably. But it has, basically been proven nowadays that a force of skilled laborers and craftsmen built them, with around 14,000 to 40,000 men at any given time. I believe I was reading it was like 40,000 men at peak, building times.
And once again, you're telling me there is 40,000 skilled laborers to just go ahead. Oh, yeah.
Got nothing better to do.
15 tons, do it every day. It's
I don't
fine.
think
we'll go ahead and get
was-
this constructed nonstop, 24-hour shifts.
Exactly. And I don't think it was like we're saying, oh, they had nothing better to do. I think they were greatly compensated for their efforts. But,
By the aliens.
yeah, we'll get into some theories a little later. And, we've all got some theories on this. And so, but, let's keep going with the facts. We got to get down to the bare bones facts so our listeners can, digest this information and come
Put
to
it
their
together
own
themselves.
conclusions.
Okay.
Yeah, connect the dots themselves. So the pyramids were covered in these things called casting stones, and many of the casting stones and inner chamber blocks fit together with extreme precision.
Now, is this anything like the casting couch?
No.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Faye Reagan or the casting couch.
Time.
The openings of the joints are only 1/50th of an inch wide within the inner chamber, and the base is horizontal and flat within a little over 0.5 inches. And the sides of the base align with the 4 cardinal compass points going off of true north, not magnetic north. The Great Pyramid is more accurate in alignment than our modern-built Meridian building at the Greenwich Observatory in London, which is what all time is based off of.
Right.
Now, no records have ever been found on the process the Egyptians, if it even was them, used, which is why this is, I believe, such a heavily debated topic to this day.
Well, that's crazy because they were one of the first people to have, the hieroglyphics and everything. They were one of the first people to really have like a history written down, recorded.
Exactly. And, it's like, what's the gentleman's name? Arthur Clarke, the guy that wrote 2001 Space Odyssey. He puts it really well, if you've ever read the book, which is also an upcoming episode. He says, what allowed our civilization to advance so quickly is written down language. Because you look at other species like, apes, dolphins, which are very intelligent, they don't have any sort of written, recorded history to
you got to learn from
teach.
the past.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Well, dolphins can't really write, so.
Hey, they're the ones that left when shit started going to hell in a handbasket.
So long, and thanks for all the fish. Now, so what is the purpose of this Great Pyramid, you may ask? So the pyramids of Giza and other pyramids are thought to have been constructed to house the remains of deceased pharaohs who ruled over ancient Egypt. I mean, this is the most common, this is what we learned, right? They were tombs.
So what's in the textbooks today, yeah.
Yeah, that's still in the 6th grade textbook.
You got it.
So a portion of the pharaoh's spirit, called his Ka, was believed to remain with his corpse. And proper care for the remains was necessary in order for the former pharaoh to perform his new duties as king of the dead. It is theorized the pyramid not only served as a tomb for the pharaoh, but also as a storage pit for various items he would need in the afterlife. Again, this is what I learned. It's like he took all its riches with him because he would need them for the afterlife. Now remember that, because that'll come up a little later. And the people of ancient Egypt believed that death on earth was the start of a journey to the next world. The embalmed body of a king was entombed underneath or within the pyramid to protect it and allow his transformation and ascension to the afterlife. So, now that we've covered the bare bones facts and the most agreed upon purpose, we'll get into the shit that nobody can really agree upon or explain. Now, again, this isn't everything. And again, we're not architects, we're not engineers, and we're not historians.
No, we are not.
So we've just pulled some of the things that, I think is very interesting and fits together with some common theories. So one of these things is the measurements of the pyramid equal pi. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but
You already said that.
I believe it's something like the height and then the base, like
times height.
Yeah, it's something like that equals pi, and there's like a spiral.
Pi is also spelled P-I, not P-I-E.
Well, I'm just putting that.
Hey, he's no mathematician, all right? The guy already said
These are my internal notes over here. Nobody's reading these but me. Where's your computer today? Oh, would you like to share with me? Okay. It's like some, watch some breakdown of this on pi, because I'm not a mathematician.
Now, are we talking about pi that you eat, or?
No, we're talking about pi the number.
And I've seen with you.
It's like this spiral thing where they used to build it, and I was honestly confused by the whole thing, if I'm being honest. But a lot of people think,
You're confusing me just talking about
exactly.
Yeah, I failed geometry.
And they think, they put this in here on purpose. Some people think, no, it's just a coincidence. But anyway,
I learned a lot in geometry. None of it was about shapes.
They had
it was about shapes.
They had a very high level of math. We do know that.
Yes, they did.
Higher than us.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Hey, I mean, they were aligning these things with the stars, guys.
Hey, apparently, according to this textbook, they invented a system of written numbers based on 10. They also created fractions, so you can thank the Egyptians for that shit. I don't like them. And they use them with whole numbers to add, subtract, and divide. So kudos,
Yeah. So these guys
Thanks
were
for nothing,
very
Egypt.
skilled mathematicians. So also the chambers themselves are a big mystery. So, there's chambers on the inside. There's the king and queen's chamber, amongst others. And there's these small shafts that, again, were built with perfect precision and a different type of stone, and align with certain star constellations, most notably Orion, which some believe the pyramid complex itself mirrors.
Mirrors the belt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
There's photographic evidence that it aligns, right?
I mean,
if I'm not mistaken.
if you just look at it from above, and then some people compare that with Orion, 3 pyramids, the 3 stars of its belt, and one of the chambers that's going out, which they said was an air chamber, but apparently with the casing stones on it, they would not reach fully out. Like, there was no air. It was just a chamber pointed up at that star system. Now,
A chamber of secrets, if you will.
You might say that.
and also, there is no... So, how did they get around in these chambers? They didn't have flashlights.
Did you see
Maybe
the
they
mummy?
did.
No smoke residue ever found in the chambers. Now, I'm not a fireman. I don't know. If you use a torch somewhere and it gets residue on the ceiling, would that wear off after a couple thousand years or no? Would there still be some type of evidence remaining?
Okay,
I don't know, man.
Not firefighters here.
Yeah, again, I didn't go to school for fire science, but
That's the J science.
no smoke residue. So
I'm assuming, though, because it's not exposed to the elements, it probably would still be there, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like the inside of the pyramid's out in the open for air and birds and
that's
nature to
another
get
thing,
to
yeah.
it.
It's like one of the things I encountered, again, doing all this research is like, again, there's pyramids all over the world. That's no secret. And some people think they're all connected. But, some of these pyramids, they're covered in grass, they've been overgrown. And I think one of the reasons why the pyramids at Giza are so well preserved is because they're in the middle of a desert. It's just like the meteor crater out in, was it in Arizona or New Mexico?
Yeah, right.
It's just
Nevada,
like it's
maybe?
very well preserved because it's just in the middle of a desert. There's
No one's
nothing.
ever messed
Yeah,
with it,
yeah.
No one's out there, really.
No water erosion.
Who wants to be out in the desert, am I right?
Yep. Now, there's also some doors that were discovered. So at one time, there were operational swivel doors, and they were massive, 20-ton doors we're talking. These were discovered when the Great Pyramid was first being explored, and at first were undetectable because they fit so perfectly in the openings within the pyramids. And it is said that one could open a door from the inside with minimal force due to how perfectly balanced it was. I mean, keep in mind, this is 20 tons being moved by pushing your hand. So, how did they cut and place these doors with such precision? How were they able to balance 20 tons? This is also a mystery. Nobody's been able to prove this.
Well, it's obviously the work of those skilled laborers that they had working for them 4,000 years ago that just knew all these secrets that haven't been passed down.
Okay. And yes, that is an interesting theory, which is one of mine that I've jotted down. We'll get into a little later in our theories segment. Now, again, another mystery, the mortar used and this alleged space stone. So no one knows how they were able to create the mortar that was used to hold the stones in place. And it is somehow stronger than the stones themselves. And it is not like any conventional mortar used today. It's been analyzed and studied, and while the composition is known, no one has been able to recreate it. And, it's done a damn good job of holding these structures together for 4,000 plus years. So, again, who knows? No one knows. That's another mystery, another unanswered question when doing this research, which is basically the theme that I've gathered, is that nobody knows jack shit when it comes to these things.
So you're telling me that these archaeologists studying them couldn't just take a segment of that and go figure out, oh, this is what they used in the mortar?
Well, they know what they used, but they don't know how they were able to mix it and place it and create that exact makeup of it.
These pyramidians could not figure it out.
Yeah. Now, and these are Egyptologists. They spend their whole life studying this shit. Now,
imagine getting paid for that.
Now that that's always fascinating. I wish if I could go back to school, I probably would do that. And
study Egypt?
Yes. So that brings us into
this. Do they let you study that at VMI? Is that one of the topics?
No, it is not. Maybe history. Now, check this out. It's called and go ahead and Google this, listeners, if you want some more info on it. I just pulled some snippets. This is called the Hypatia stone.
Is that a correct pronunciation?
I believe so. Now, Hypatia stone. So a small pebble was discovered in southwest Egypt in 96, and it is of extraterrestrial origin. Now this was not known until 2015 after now I don't know what this is, but a nuclear probe and noble gas analysis proved the stone didn't come from any recognizable comets or meteorites. And in fact, it doesn't even appear to come from our solar system at all.
Now,
this Hypatia stone... Yeah, go ahead.
Did you have something?
No, I'm not a scientist. Just putting that out there. But I believe that noble gases are the gases which naturally occur within the Earth.
Okay. So that makes sense. And
so if that wasn't included in the stone, then obviously of extraterrestrial origin.
Yes, and again, I'm not a scientist either. So some of this stuff was over my head. And this Hypatia stone contains micro-mineral compounds not known to occur anywhere on Earth, not found in any other meteorites, and not known to occur anywhere in our solar system. Based on the analysis and a bunch of, composition terms, they get into a lot of stuff actually very scientific. I won't get into it right now. But it is determined that the stone predates our own sun. And researchers continue to question the origin of this stone, and its clues only cast doubt over the distribution of elements inside the nebula that we believe formed our own solar system. So again, we've got this stone, and we've got more questions, no answers. Now, this sounds a lot to me like the Infinity Stones.
Getting a little Avengers on us.
Oh, yes, sir.
1 week till the release.
Upcoming episode, definitely. But yeah, so it's like, just this crazy old stone that predates our own solar system. Nobody knows how it got here, because they did all this testing on it, and it's like the makeup Like usually stuff, asteroids, meteors that crash on Earth, it's like more, I forget what the element was, and then a little bit of carbon. This stone is like totally reversed. It's like more carbon and less of this other element. And, it's actually a whole bunch of scientific mumbo jumbo that I didn't understand, but very interesting.
Now, based on the story that you just told me, that would support my claim that aliens helped build the pyramids.
Exactly. We find this little stone.
And this stone was not found until 1996.
Are you like the History Channel guy meme?
Sucralose?
Sucralose?
Is that you?
That's my fucking boy, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to what this man just said, and you tell me that aliens didn't have some part in this.
We'll get into that.
They're aligned with the damn stars.
All right. We'll get into our theories. Okay. So let's keep going with unexplained shit. So the casting stones we talked about.
Again, not to
casing or casting? Because you're saying both. You're confusing me.
Did I say casting?
You said
no T
first.
There,
you said casting, and then that brought up casting couch.
Did I say casting?
Yes, that's why I said casting couch.
But then when you were going over your whole spiel a minute ago, you said the casing stone.
Okay, I read that totally wrong.
There's
I'm sorry.
no
I
T
meant
in there because I didn't get it.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
I
would
meant
make sense because it encases the pyramids.
Yes.
Casing stones. Go back, re-listen to the whole episode, and just insert casing.
Yes, casing stones. Correction. So,
Super professional.
you might ask, what did the pyramid look like when it was built?
Mm-hmm.
You ever wonder that, you guys?
I imagine it looks like a pyramid.
Now, let's put on our
I'm
time
wondering why this
travel
man has
caps.
glitter all over him, and I can see it from across the room.
I'll explain that because we were actually talking about pyramids.
Are you hanging out with Tinkerbell again?
Hey.
Now, let's put on our time travel caps, all right? We're going back in time.
Time travel caps.
2500 BC.
4,000 years ago.
Ooh, the pyramids are being built.
Mhm.
They are finished. Khufu is finishing the pyramids, allegedly. So basically, the pyramid was covered in, it was completely smooth,
Yes.
and it was white limestone casing back in its heyday. And it was so polished and fine that it reflected the sun, so it was just this big shining jewel in the desert. And I think like one of the original names, like in some ancient text for the pyramid, was like something to do with light. And the casing stones, they actually, a lot of them were, there was like this big earthquake in like the 1500s or something, 1300s maybe, and it got a lot of them loose, and all these fucking idiots took them to build these mosques and temples in Cairo, and there's only a little bit remaining at the base today. But the crazy thing is, speaking about earthquakes, the joints in the bedrock of the pyramids were actually on like a ball socket to like withstand earthquakes and stuff.
These guys were way ahead of
Exactly.
their time.
How could this be possible? And again, another unexplained phenomenon. And then we got these heat spots. So in 2015, there was a thermal scan which revealed the lower tunnels beneath the pyramid, and a few areas in the upper area of the pyramid generated some type of heat. What is this? How can this be explained? Now, one of our theories, which we'll get into a little later, is all about how the pyramid was some type of big like power generator, maybe like a power plant, if you will.
Solar panels.
Yeah, and they're saying this could be some like leftover technology that we're just not aware of. So again, that's another thing unexplained. And right into these underground bedrock tunnels that we were talking about a little before. So this guy Brian Forster, he discovered 20 boxes cut with precision from granite, which if you're not familiar, granite's like one of the hardest stones to cut. And each box weighs in at 100 tons apiece. Experts believe these were burial places for prize bulls, but no bulls have ever been found. So great theory, pyramidians. And the function of these boxes remains a mystery. Some think they were, used to store energy, as we talked about before. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of elaborate tunnels under the Giza Plateau that this guy Forster theorizes they once ran water through them from the Nile, as the pyramids were essentially a big power plant back in their time, generating energy by converting water into hydrogen and oxygen. And he thinks this was like long before the pharaohs. He does not credit the pharaohs with building the pyramids. And the weathering and erosion and salt buildup on the tunnel walls indicates that water did run through them for extensive periods of time. Now, again, that's something we don't know. We can't explain.
Right.
And now we get into Khufu himself, the man responsible. So this was a tomb to him. Is most agreed that Khufu had the Great Pyramid built, but when his sarcophagus was found, here we go. It raised more questions than answers. It was massive, weighing in at about a little under 4 tons, and it is too large to have been brought into the chamber, so it had to have been placed while the pyramid was being constructed.
Saying they built around it, basically?
Yep,
okay.
basically.
Okay.
And the sarcophagus was made from one solid piece of granite, and it was hollowed out from within, and it also features holes that appear to have been made with some sort of drill. Now, one of the main books that we did research for on this episode was Giza Death Star by Joseph P. Pharaoh, and I will read you a passage from this that talks a little bit about these holes. So this guy says that so he's talking about these drills and this coffin. He's got this picture of how he believes the coffin was drilled. And he says that in conventional machining, in 1983, Donald Rand of Rand Granite Surface Plate Company told him that diamond drills rotating at 900 revolutions per minute penetrate granite at the rate f1 inch in 5 minutes. So 1 inch in 5 minutes, and that's these high-tech diamond drills.
Hey, that's like your nipples cutting through anything.
Yeah. So, given all that, the Egyptians would have had to drill into granite with a fed rate, that's the F, that was 500 times greater or deeper per revolution than any of these modern diamond drills.
This is like a drill bit.
Yeah, like a...
made of diamond.
Yeah.
And they would have had to have some kind of power source to power these drills.
Yep. Now he does present this. He says that in contrast, ultrasonic drilling fully explains how the holes and cores found in the Valley Temple at Giza could have been cut, and is capable of creating all the details that him and this other guy puzzled over.
Now, while we're on the topic of this precision cutting, and, sorry to the listeners that can't actually see this, but if you just research, go on Google, look up the black boxes, Pyramids of Giza, you'll easily find these pictures. These are the boxes which Ryan was just talking about, and all of them are precision cut as well. Many theories about that also being left here by aliens.
Now, as I was talking about this ultrasonic drilling,
okay,
so that stuff wasn't even found out until the end of the 20th century. But he says that this could be like one of the ways they could have drilled out this coffin or sarcophagus, if that's what it even was. But, that technology wasn't even around until the end of the 20th century. So they could even be operating on some freaking high-level shit that we don't even know about.
Clearly they were.
So, the effort it would have taken them to hollow out and penetrate this granite raises some serious debate. How the fuck was this accomplished? Ain't no stone and chisel doing that. Am I right?
You're absolutely right.
And also, Khufu's remains,
no one knows where they are.
never found in the temple. So how is it that these Egyptologists say, hey, this was a monument. This was a tomb for Khufu. but no remains.
Thinking the guy faked his own death to avoid taxes or something?
I don't think that was a big thing back then, but you know, these guys are getting buried with all their treasure. Probably some grave robbers, boys.
Well, check this out. Back to your aliens theory. So the Great Pyramid is located at the center of the land mass of Earth. The east-west parallel that crosses the most land and the north-south meridian that crosses the most land intersect in two places on Earth. One is in the middle of the ocean, and the other at the Great Pyramid.
Now, is this on a flat Earth or a round Earth?
This is around Earth.
Okay.
Now, we will get into some theories. First one up, aliens. Boom, hit us with it.
I've been hitting you with it the whole episode. There's no possible way that 4,000 years ago, there was 40,000 skilled laborers moving around 15-ton blocks, putting them precision in the ground, making 3 of them nonetheless that line up with the stars.
Okay.
And, you know, we won't even leave it at 3. There's pyramid sites all over the damn place.
That's true.
Antarctica, South America. Hell, there could be some out in the middle of the ocean we don't even know about.
Possible future episodes?
Possible investors? Maybe you. I mean, I'm being honest here. I feel like there's no way that it didn't happen without aliens.
4,000 years, that's a long, long time ago in a galaxy not so far away, right? Aliens. Makes sense.
So, all right, Rob, you think it's aliens. Any more supporting facts for the argument?
I mean, there's not really a lot of supporting facts that it's not aliens. Seems like these guys spend their whole life researching this shit and still don't know anything about it.
How about you, T-Bag? What is your consensus? What do you think?
Well, I'm intrigued by this. Spending your whole life getting paid lots of money to research shit and come up with no answers. How do we get that job?
Exactly.
Is that? I mean,
that's basically what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Where's my check?
So another theory, going off of Stargate film, is a landing pad for an alien craft. What are we thinking about that?
We touched a little bit up on that when we were talking about Mount Shasta, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not pyramid.
Well,
but
not pyramid.
It's a tall triangular.
There is apparently a pyramid on another vibrational frequency that is an intergalactic and interdimensional portal above Mount Shasta. So you're thinking something similar with the pyramids of Giza?
Maybe.
Okay. Another thing. Now this, I'm a big proponent of this one. A lost technology. You know, there was some civilization that was far more advanced than us. Or maybe, just as advanced. Or maybe advanced in certain facets, not so advanced in others. I mean, think about this. And here's a question for our listeners out there. So there was this textbook I had in like 7th grade, 6th grade. Don't remember. It's all a blur. And we had to read this short story. I have no idea who wrote the short story, but this kid basically like fell out of this like portal, this dimension, and he stumbled into our world. And these hunters came across him, and this kid looked very primitive, very ancient, but he was really like way far advanced. And it was like the hunter said to the other guy, he was like, "Look at this kid, like he's so knowledgeable, but he looks so primitive." And then it was like, how far in the future would it take our civilization to like revert back to primitive stuff, like all this materialist society, Kardashians, all this bullcrap, Instagram, social media? We don't need it. How far would we have to go into the future to not have all this stuff and just boom, living off the land again, being very advanced, like all these
somewhat utopian?
Yeah,
okay.
Probably another couple thousand years, right?
Easy.
Until one of these retards with a nuclear bomb drops them.
We're not going to get political on the podcast.
Yeah, we're not going to get political here, but we will get into some of that stuff.
I'm just saying that could cause us to revert back to primitive ways.
Okay, well,
because technology would be lost at that point.
But see, that's more of a forced reversion. Reversion.
Okay.
Is that a word?
Reversion, I think.
I'm thinking just naturally going back to primitive, living in teepees and being advanced.
Maybe we could start the movement.
Okay. And so,
Advanced reversion
you know,
for the new age of technology.
advanced reversion. Probably there, I think, you know, there was just some lost technology and we have no idea. And, you know, you can speculate all day, but, you know, I don't think we're ever going to know unless, you know, maybe hell, it was aliens and they come down and show us again. Again, you know, we get into this similar pyramids around the world. This plays into my whole blind elephant theory. You guys familiar?
Enlighten the listeners.
Okay. So one of my theories is, you know, we've got these pyramids all over the world. And there's this thing called the blind elephant theory. Blind man elephant theory. I don't know what you want to call it. My philosophy teacher back at community college told me about it. This guy was a super hippie, really cool guy. He actually sounded exactly like the one guy off Ancient Aliens. You know, the guy with the gray hair and goatee that's like, these aliens were far more advanced and had a vast knowledge of the stars. I believe it was extraterrestrial. He sounded exactly like this guy. And so he has this thing. It's like, so this super, like, think about religion. Okay? How many different religions are there?
I'd say at least hundreds.
Too many to count.
Yeah.
So a super intelligent being, a god, so to speak, comes down and tries to talk to you. How much of it do you think you're going to understand?
Probably not.
Little to none.
Yeah.
So it's basically like this. There's 3 blind men, and they go up to this elephant.
Can we say 3 blind mice?
Sure, 3
Okay.
blind mice. And they go up to this elephant, but we're going to keep it at 3 blind men.
Okay.
And they go up to this elephant.
Elephant's going to be scared of it. Probably not going to talk to him.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
So 3 blind men go up to this elephant. One guy touches the trunk. Another guy touches the leg.
The other guy needs to watch out where he touches.
One
He's got
guy-
a lawsuit on his hand.
One guy touches the tail. They all go back.
Leg, trunk, tail.
Yep.
Okay.
Each one goes back to their own societies. They're from all different cultures. And the one guy says, you know, this is what an elephant is, and he describes the trunk. The other guy says, this is what an elephant is. He describes the leg that he touched. The other guy says, this is what an elephant is. He describes the tail. All very different.
Sure.
So same thing with religion. Maybe with the construction of these pyramids, they say, hey, you know, these super intelligent beings, as Rob's theory, they're telling us all about this stuff. They've got these different guys from different cultures. And you know, maybe these aliens, boom, they're fucking zipping all over the earth, telling all these tribesmen how to do this stuff. And they're all going to have their different tweaks on it.
Hey, build a pyramid, and these guys just have to go out and...
Yeah, and that's why, hey, all these pyramids are similar, but, you know, they got their little tweaks, their little differences, and used for different things, apparently.
Yeah, like if you look at the Mayan pyramids.
Yeah, they're like step pyramids.
Still pretty crazy that they were built in that time period, but nonetheless, apparently built by man.
Now, some say time machine.
Pyramid is a time machine?
Yeah,
Okay.
could have been a time machine. What are we thinking about that?
I don't buy that one.
Okay. And then the other one.
Well, I mean, go into that. Is there any...
I mean, it was just honestly on one of the Ancient Aliens I was watching. They were talking all about how this time machine had this far advanced technology. You know, you sit in the middle, it's aimed at these 2 stars, something with like the power of the earth.
Crystals.
Yeah, you know, going back in time. Yeah.
Robbing big.
Yeah. You know,
we all know from Napoleon Dynamite that crystal time machines don't work.
so how about this power plant theory? You know, I think this is one of the more solid ones, as we discussed, you know, the whole water running beneath the complex, these giant cells that this guy found. These could have possibly housed the energy, you know, some type of power that we really don't know, you know?
I mean, talking
This
about
is true.
the limestone being white, too, like reflecting sun. I don't know, man. That's...
I mean, yeah, why
Solar
did they
panel
want to
type
make
shit.
this thing so visible?
Yeah.
Plus all those granite stones found underground. Who knows what they were using those for?
And why different types of stone? Why not just use one stone to make the whole damn thing? It's something like the granite was hauled from like 500 miles away.
Right.
And that's some of the heaviest stones used in there. I mean, one of them was like fucking 18 tons. 500 miles away? Really? Come on, Egyptians. So, now, this book I was reading, Giza Death Star. So, this sounded pretty interesting, you know. Pick this up if you're interested. It's by this guy, Joseph P. Pharaoh. And you know, while it's basically a lot of build-up, a lot of stuff I didn't understand. Again, I'm not a mathematician. He does a good job of laying the groundwork for how the pyramid could be seen as a former weapon of mass destruction. So, you know, these Egyptians, these pharaohs, this culture, they were obsessed with death. They were obsessed with the afterlife.
In the sense that the afterlife is a good thing. It's not a morbid thing how we perceive it today, or how like other societies of the time did. Death was something they looked forward to. Afterlife was something they looked forward to.
Well, I think there's still people today that look forward to it.
Weirdos.
So, you know, the pyramids are referred to in some of the ancient texts as quote-unquote royal fortress. The complex itself bears a striking resemblance to a military compound, if you kind of think about it. Now, there's a ton of chapters, like basically the whole first 3/4 of the book, I'd say, is just, you know, laying his theory on like their advanced math, which I, you know, skimmed through. I'm not a mathematician, and stuff like that. So there's a few chapters laying out his theory on this ultrasonic drilling, which we talked about, how they could, you know, possibly use sound to drill,
which would be far more efficient than a diamond, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And how sound can be converted into energy and, you know, in turn used as a weapon. And then now this is very interesting. He has this account in here. So apparently there's Sumerian accounts that say that the Sumerians raided the pyramids of Egypt and they smashed these large crystal arrays which were housed in the Grand Gallery. There's these square holes next to the walls, and all of these crystal arrays were pulsating with different sounds. The Sumerian raiders smashed the crystals and boom, this technology is lost to time.
I'm just saying, I think it's hard to believe that crystals were the things that were helping them out with this.
But that goes hand in hand, you know.
Well, no. I don't think he's saying the crystals, sound crystals were used to build them. He's saying it was built, they put these crystals in it, and they used the sound as like a giant weapon of mass destruction.
Okay.
You know, ultrasonic sound. That's very scientific. We're not going to get into it.
Well, clearly they didn't win if the Sumerians came in and...
Well, this was like long after the Egyptian civilization.
Okay.
And so, yeah, like, basically this guy, Joseph P. Pharaoh, he agrees a lot with this guy, Graham Hancock. Check him out. This guy... he basically subscribes to the idea that there were several catastrophic events that wiped out these like very advanced civilizations that existed long before us, and they're basically just lost to these catastrophes of natural disasters, you know. And I think
just like the dinosaurs,
that's his big theory. Yeah, just like the dinosaurs. And that's his big theory for how the pyramids built by this highly advanced ancient civilization, and then boom, they were wiped out by some natural disaster, or as Pharaoh says, by their own weapon of mass destruction, and then boom, all their records, everything they've got is lost to time. And hey, maybe these fucking Egyptians are just like, oh, these places look cool, move right in, use them as tombs, and then that's what they record their history down as, hey, these were tombs, da 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 da, and that's what we...
It's the Illuminati, man. These guys got too advanced. They were too ahead of themselves, and someone had to put them back in their place.
Or, yeah, aliens wiped them out. Said, hey, fucking with space-time, just like, you know, Roswell and the aliens come and land in here. And boom. So, basically, this guy, Pharaoh, his whole...
his spiel, if you will? Yeah,
his whole spiel, his whole conclusion... is basically, you know, he gets into a lot about like electromagnetic energy used. This is common paranormal thing. They use electromagnetic energy to find ghosts, you know? Mm-hmm. Electromagnetic energy to find ghosts.
Yep.
You know? And so he says, it's chilling indeed to contemplate that the name of the supremely fallen one in the Judeo-Christian tradition is Lucifer, the light bearer, the preternaturally intelligent being whose special knowledge and quote-unquote expertise lies, after all, in electromagnetic phenomenon. So, this guy's thinking Satan worshippers?
Satanic rituals.
Boom, dude. Devil, fucking light
Pyramids.
bearer.
The occult.
Light. I mean, occult is basically unexplained. We know every fucking thing about the pyramids is unexplained. I had another real quick theory, if I may.
Go ahead.
About, so, Metroid episode.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Chozo we were talking about?
Mhm.
Organic? So, this is my big theory. This is what I've drawn my conclusions from. I think it was some highly advanced civilization, and they had this far advanced technology, all this organic technology, you know, just like these Chozo guys, it's organic. So when that gets, you know, lost to time, it withers away, boom, it's destroyed, never found again. So then we find it and we're like, oh, well, they must have used a stone and chisel. But no, they probably had something far more advanced, really cool that we don't even know about.
And if we were to find out, we'd just be distracted by the Kardashians.
Exactly.
This is unreal.
Unreal. Any interesting theories you guys think about all this stuff?
I already told you my bit. I think that it's aliens.
Rob's
And I'm not
100%
moving off of
convinced that it's aliens. Aliens came down and
and
helped us.
Let me just say this. If this guy is saying that they're possibility of being Satan worshippers, if I'm not correct.
Well, I don't know necessarily what you're saying.
Well, we're not going to get into that. But
Well, no, you're mishearing me.
well,
Or
I'm just
you're
saying,
mishearing
these
him.
are
Go with your point.
these predate Christianity. Am I correct?
Correct, but if you look
Whoa.
at ancient Egypt religion, they start out as polytheistic and transform into this monotheistic one god.
Yeah.
There is a lord of the underworld and
Yeah,
his
I mean,
wife.
so yeah, religion is basically one big clusterfuck because it's like they wrote the Bible and then that's what we go do our time off of. But I mean, it's like we were saying, Prince of Egypt, Moses,
Mhm.
he's in the Bible. Boom, he was around the pyramids. So I mean, Satan probably far dates the pyramids if he did in fact exist.
This is true.
Teabag, what are you thinking over here?
Now, this might be a good place to pause. Are you going to get into curses later in the outline?
Do you
We
have a
want to hear
theory?
your theory.
Well,
Well,
hear
if
your
we're gonna, I
grand
just had to
theory.
build off that whole. If we're talking about Satan and stuff, like I said earlier, in Egyptian, you know, the religion, the afterlife is a big deal. Like they believe the Pharaoh
Oh,
went
yeah.
on. That's the whole reason they built these pyramids. One theory is for the Pharaoh to be surrounded by his treasures and go into the afterlife and keep taking care of the people of Egypt. So, like, to even get to the afterlife, the land of the dead, you know, where Lucifer...
Book of the Dead.
Yes, right.
Now, piggybacking off of that, if I may.
Yeah.
So, you know, mummies. That's a big thing. They got to preserve them. They got to do these crazy embalming techniques.
Everybody has a mummy. Some people have two.
Yeah. Peru had mummies. Egypt had mummies. Why? You know, these were preserved to be resurrected with some type of force or thing that we don't understand. I mean, Walt Disney did it. He had his head frozen.
True.
So that he
Crystals
could-
bringing people back to life.
Exactly. He could be brought back. Maybe the afterlife, quote unquote, that these Egyptians are talking about. I mean, they talk a lot about, oh, the afterlife, I'm going to, you know, go up into the stars.
Mm.
Boom. Maybe they're just going to some freaking utopia space land that we don't know about. I mean, the King's Chamber, boom, is pointed at Orion. Maybe it's something with the stars, something
Flash Gordon.
yeah, something with boom, bringing him out bringing him with all these space aliens, and he's like, you know, going to it's like Stargate. You know how it's like the portal, and they go to the other, I mean, I guess galaxy, if you will.
Dimension.
I think we all
Yeah.
forgot about Under Wraps. They resurrect a mummy there.
Yeah. And okay, so yeah, here we go. How about that? In sci-fi, you know, sci-fi, Hollywood in general, I mean, the pyramids come up countless times, and mummies. We got the OG Boris Karloff mummy. We got the 99 mummy with Brendan Fraser. You guys familiar?
Oh, yeah. With
Boom.
the bugs that crawl up inside of people.
Flesh Eaters. One of
Yeah.
my favorite movies. Me and Garrett Evenson, shout out if he's listening. When we used to run the mile back in elementary school, we pretended it was Egypt falling behind us. And boom, we got to escape from the
The
mummy.
big face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the 2017 mummy.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Mm.
I tried watching it.
Couldn't get into it.
Unbearable.
Yeah.
I could not do it.
I came home and this guy was watching it and I said, "You actually turned this
I watched
trash
a
on?"
lot of like fiction pyramid movies. Stargate, seen it?
Yes,
The
familiar.
old fucking Kurt Russell.
Yep.
Good one. Pretty long, but kind of cheesy, but still fun.
Yep.
And then, we got The Fifth Element. They've got elements, so to speak, of Egypt in there. The Pyramid. Have you guys seen that? I think it came out like last year. It's like a horror movie about the curse of what was his name? Anubis.
Mm.
And
I have not
Osiris.
seen it.
Well, it's stupid. Don't watch it. There was I also watched a Pinky in the Brain episode called The Mummy. You guys remember that one?
Not that one. You guys remember the Mummies Alive?
From
Is a cartoon.
Oh yeah, I
With the
think I do.
Strength of Ra. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
I don't think I remember
If you
that. That
saw
might
a
have been
clip.
before me. And as we talked about, before my time. You guys are older than
No,
me.
I'm gonna show you a
Barely,
YouTube
dude.
clip, dude.
Okay.
You'll
I
see.
guarantee you would recognize it if he shows you.
Oh, all right, and then Prince of Egypt, classic.
They're still showing
again.
that in school. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did my senior thesis on some stuff in the Prince of Egypt. So yeah, now we'll get into some real life mummy legends and curses. I thought this stuff was pretty interesting as I was looking up some stuff on ancient Egypt. Figured hell, maybe you guys would like to hear about this stuff too. So we'll start with the earliest one. In 1699, this guy Louis Penneker wrote of a mummy's curse in his book Treatise on Embalming. He recounted the story of a Polak
Hey, only we can say that word.
who had purchased 2 mummies from Alexandria.
Oh.
Hey, I'd like to buy these mummies. They said,
2 of them, please.
presumably this was to study them for medical purposes. As he was sailing home across the Mediterranean Sea, he began to be haunted by 2 ghosts who suddenly appeared on the boat. The man acted quickly, throwing the mummies overboard. And as soon as he did this, his visions of the spectral being stopped. Boom, as soon as the mummies were cast in the sea, these ghosts go away. So there's also the tomb of Kentika Ikiki.
Can you try that again? Jesus Christ.
Kentika Eheke, right?
That sounds a lot better than the first guy.
Okay. The tomb of Kentika Eheke. This was 9th and 10th dynasty. This contained the inscription. Adam, you want to go ahead and read this curse for us?
As for all men who shall enter this my tomb, impure, there will be judgment, an end shall be made for him. I shall seize his neck like a bird, I shall cast the fear of myself into him. I got goosebumps just reading that, dude.
Boom. That's a mummy curse right there. Now, how do you say, Rob? King Tut.
King Tut.
How do you say his
Just
full
keep
name?
it at that.
I just keep it at King Tut.
Well, come on. Just give it a try there. You did a project on him for school.
Don't remember that.
Write about a famous African.
I'm not going to try and read that, dude.
Come on.
Read about a famous African and that's who you chose? King Tut?
He's from Africa. King
Hey.
Tutankhamen.
Up in Africa, they call him King Kong Gorilla.
King Tutankhamun's tomb.
Just call him King Tut.
All right,
for
when
Christ's sake.
when King Tutankhamun's tomb, King Tut's tomb was found, journalists reported the following inscription near the door. Adam, go ahead and read us that curse.
Why does Adam have to read all the curses? That's kind of fucked up.
I can't read. He wants the curse to be on me.
I get it.
Have you guys ever been to Egypt?
That doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yes, far away from the mummy's curse.
He's coming here.
Yeah.
Read that curse.
All
We're
right.
going to be haunted by King Tut tonight. A famous African.
It's on you. Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king.
There were several mysterious deaths surrounding the opening of Tut's tomb. The first and the most publicized death was of Egyptologist Lord
Carnarvon.
He and Howard Carter opened Tut's tomb. Carnarvon died a few months after the discovery from an infected mosquito bite on his cheek Now, when an autopsy was performed on the pharaoh's body, King Tut, a similar lesion was found on his cheek. A little spooky. Also, when Carnarvon died, all of the lights in his house were rumored to have suddenly blacked out with no explanation.
This sounds like a good horror story. Good movie.
Now,
I love a good horror flick.
Howard Carter. Now, check this out. Also, a lot of this was taken off the internet, so I'm not sure how true it is. But Howard Carter gave his friend Sir Bruce Ingham a paperweight made of a mummified hand with a bracelet with the following inscription. Adam, go ahead and read that one.
Cursed be he who moves my body. To him shall come fire, water, and pestilence.
Now, again, I'm no archaeologist. I'm no anthropologist.
Okay.
If you tried to give me a mummified hand with a bracelet that said that, I don't think I'd accept it. So after...
Well, how are you going to know until it gets into your house, honestly?
Well, you look at it.
You look at it.
Say, hey, that's a... Hey.
Hey, that's a mummified hand. No thanks.
I have to use this as a paperweight.
Go ahead and take that back.
So after Ingham
Please return
received this gift, his house burned down. And once he rebuilt it, it was hit by a flood. Talk about a curse.
Coincidence? I think not.
Yep.
It reminds me of a story, the monkey's claw, monkey's paw, about a cursed monkey paw brought back from Egypt. So apparently the moral of this episode...
Monkey's claw or monkey's paw?
I think it's paw.
Now, were monkeys native to Egypt?
Africa?
Okay.
Famous African.
Maybe. The moral of the story seems to be to not go to Egypt.
Or bring things back.
Maybe, hey, leave it where it lies.
Yes. As above, so below.
Leave no trace.
Leave no trace.
So, in 1972, this is still Tut's curse. This one is boom. This one is long, guys. Boom. The curse strikes again. Some of the artifacts from King Tut's tomb were sent to a British museum to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the tomb's discovery. Dr. Gamal Merez, the director of antiques at the museum in Cairo, died
of antiquities.
He died the night after he handled the artifacts that were to be sent to England. 3 of the men on the aircraft that shipped the artifacts suffered from heart attacks. One of the men had a heart attack at the same time every year, the same day that he flew aboard the plane with the King Tut relics, until one of the heart attacks killed him. We've got this other guy, George J. Gold I. He was a visitor of the tomb, and he died after he developed a fever following his visit. This other guy, Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey of Egypt, died in 1923 after he was shot dead by his own wife. And this guy, Colonel...
He was probably trying to steal 2 female mummies.
This guy, Colonel...
Mummies, please.
Oh, he rightfully bought those mummies, sir.
Oh, sorry.
This guy, Colonel...
What a time to be alive.
Colonel Aubrey Herbert.
What do you think it costs to buy a mummy? Like, how much do you have to make to have mummy buying money?
Well, that was back in the 1600s, so probably that was like a barter.
That's a boss move.
And who are you buying these mummies from? From Egypt or just from whoever found them?
A grave robber, probably. Mummy broker.
Aladdin.
Now,
Prince Ali.
Now, Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, a radiologist who x-rayed King Tut's mummy, died in 1924 from a mysterious illness.
Everyone's got to die of something. It's not
okay,
even
but
really
the tomb
related.
was opened in 1922. You're telling me all these guys died of this weird shit within like 7 years?
Hey.
Yep. Have you all seen, I think it's like the third Exorcist or whatever, when they're in Africa and they enter in the pyramid. Y'all seen that one? Talking about?
When he says that's where Lucifer fell?
Yeah.
Going back to Joseph Pharaoh's?
That chick climbs up the wall and says something about fucking her. It's gross, dude. Me and Jameson were laughing at that one.
I remember that one.
That's a creepy one. I'm just saying.
You're saying what?
Lucifer, hand in hand.
Lucifer.
Oh,
so that's King Tut's curse. Now back to more curses. So in 1971, during an excavation in Saqqara, Egyptologist Walter Bryan Emery found a small statue of Osiris, who is the Egyptian god of death. He took the statue with him to his office in a nearby village. Once at the office, Emery went into the restroom. After a few moments, his assistant began to hear Emery screaming. He found him clutching the sink's basin, experiencing some kind of trauma. His assistant said that he, quote-unquote, stood there as if paralyzed. I grabbed him by the shoulders and dragged him onto the couch. Then I ran for the telephone. This guy Emery was diagnosed with paralysis of the right side of his body and was unable to speak, and he died the following day.
Sounds a little bit like a stroke.
Now, how's that for some Egyptian curses, guys? This is just, don't go to Egypt and take things.
Right, yeah, there's a
You don't fuck with the Pharaoh's tomb.
Now, do you think that...
Goosebumps book about that. 2 of them.
You think aliens...
Just like the 2 mummies.
Aliens put these curses? So if it was aliens, they somehow are responsible for these crazy curses?
They just passed off the liability. Smart, man.
Somehow or another. Maybe the aliens or the pharaohs.
Okay. Now, just Google it. We're gonna, we'll get off the serious stuff, the curses, the death, the macabre. Or just Google it. Check this guy out. German tourist. He climbed the Great Pyramid of Giza.
And just what was his name?
I'm not sure of his name, but he is banned from Egypt for life.
That's impressive. That's the kind of record I want to have. You're banned from entering the country.
I mean, just check out some of the images that he got. I'll post them on the Instagram page, but I mean, just look at this. He actually made like a GoPro video.
That's badass.
What year was this? Are you aware?
I mean, this was very recent.
Okay.
His name was Andrej Ciesielski.
Great pronunciation.
I mean, can you pronounce that? Go for it, you Polak.
Oh, easy there, buddy.
Ciesielski.
Andrej Ciesielski. Yeah, this guy climbed the pyramids. Check out the picture he got. Pretty badass. So yeah, that's all we got on this one, guys. I mean, anything else we want to say about the pyramids? Basically, after all this research, we don't know what the fuck they're for, how the fuck they were made. We're not any closer to getting those answers. Rob thinks it was aliens. Teabag over here, what was your final consensus?
I just got to go by the book. But I would like to say, man, it just sounds like one of those places they're like, oh, don't go. But it's like everything we see like makes me want to go there even more.
Oh, so, yeah, I definitely want to go there
fuck
before
it, dude.
I die.
If I'm going out with a curse.
Or before somebody fucks it up.
Yeah, that's true.
It's, once we make it big, we're going there first.
Live
Okay.
broadcast.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
podcast from Giza.
New studio space, full effect. Went pretty well. Yeah?
I enjoyed it.
I like the space. I like the vibe. We're getting the lava lamp in next week.
Black lights, the whole 9.
And, speaking of Egypt and the pyramids, our boy Jed's coming in next week for the episode.
Yes, conceived in Egypt, that man was.
Great lead into the next episode.
Yes.
Couldn't think of a better way.
Stay tuned. Next episode is going to be a good one, near and dear to my heart. And we're
cursed by Egyptian pharaohs, apparently.
Thanks for bearing with us while we moved into the new studio. I know it was a while, but finally got us all in one room, put together this episode for you guys. Thanks for listening, and stay safe out there, guys.
As always, we got stickers, we got the patches in the works. And hit us up on the email, podcastfromouterspace@gmail.com. As always, IG is Podcast from Outer Space. Slide in those DMs, boys.
Or girls. Real quick before we go, we just want to have a moment of silence for our friend Rob and his Philadelphia Flyers. And to their season, thanks to my boys in Pittsburgh. But yeah, so long, and thanks for all the fish, guys.
See the pyramids along the Nile. Watch the sunrise on a trial.